I get sent a ton of stuff to review, so I thought I'd finally show you what's been hiding underneath this desk and scattered around this room in one great big accessory review. Hello and welcome back to Ellis Reviews. Thank you for subscribing if you have, and if you haven't subscribed, the button is just down there. Thank you also to my most recent patron, Robert Schwenk. Hopefully I've got your name right there. Very much appreciated. If you want to support the channel, the link to my Patreon page is in the description. Now, when I first started this YouTube channel, I said yes to every single request for a review, which meant very quickly this room got completely full of review units. And these, as you can imagine, are smaller brands. I'm not a big enough creator to have Apple and Samsung sending me review units. I have to buy that stuff. Poor me. But I was getting some really interesting stuff from some really interesting little businesses. And what's been happening under this desk, the area of this studio that you can't see, has just been piling up with more and more review units. And I just thought one day, right, I've got to do something with these because these guys have been kind enough to send me this stuff. Why not just do one great big accessory review? Now, I appreciate that you will not be interested in every single thing that I cover in this video. So as always, I've put timestamps in the description. Just have a look through and see if there's anything there that catches your eye, and you can skip ahead and, you know, miss out all the waffle about the rest of the things that aren't of interest to you. But yeah, it's all waiting down here to start talking about. So let's get into it. Now, the first accessory I want to talk about, or accessories, is for the iPad. In my case, for the iPad Pro. Now, these are from a company called Pitaka. Again, I hope I've got that right. And they call this the Flow. One thing I wish companies would just spend a bit more time on, if I'm being totally honest, is the names of their products. Because sometimes, like in this case, I don't quite understand what that means. Flow, it's even got an exclamation mark in between those two words. We'll let them off actually, because these are really, really good accessories for the iPad Pro. Now, Flow is basically what they call a system of magnetic accessories that fully integrate with your iPad. And that's a pretty accurate description, really. What they sent me three things. Firstly, they sent me this, which is this kind of folio type cover thing for the iPad. And it looks a bit odd at first because there's a bit missing here and it may not look like it protects your iPad that much. It's not really designed to do that. What it's designed to do is integrate with a few other things. So one of the things is this, which is the full kind of folio part of the case. And then basically once you've attached this part of the case to your iPad, which just clips in, very simple, you can then attach it to the folio, which goes in here. Done, you've got a folio case. It's well made. I prefer this material to the material that Apple uses, which is just horrible. Yeah, it's nice. It's got the magnets that you would expect, and it's a nice way of protecting your iPad. But you're asking, why on earth do we have that thing on the back of the iPad? Well, there's a very, very good reason for that, which is the fact that there is a big, strong magnet in the back of this. And that magnet will attach to something I have over there, which I will show you in some B-roll now, which is a iPad stand. And this is hands down the best iPad stand I've ever used. I've covered some other iPad stands in the past. They've always had a bit of an issue with the strength of the magnets. It's quite easy to inadvertently knock your iPad off, something you do not want to do. Now, some iPads will have magnets in them, but they don't really have a very strong one there. This does. So built into this, it has a nice strong magnet which attaches brilliantly to, as you would guess, the stand. The stand swivels, it tilts as well. It's the best stand I've ever used for an iPad, and just the combination with the magnet in here makes it work brilliantly. Now, if you don't want to put this on your iPad, there is another option. They do send you a magnet that you can stick to the back of your iPad without the case. Again, in doing so, you're going to lose your Apple logo and you're going to have something permanently attached to it. So it's a matter of taste, really, if you actually want to go ahead and do that. But personally, I'd stick with this. I'd stick with this case that has the integrated magnet in there. It's just much more convenient. You stick it on there, done. Now, you can buy all these things separately, but the bundle is about $80, which isn't cheap, but you're getting a stand, a really, really good stand for it, a really good case, a folio as well. I think just for the stand alone, it's brilliant. I'm using it all the time as a second screen now. Now, I'm not much of a gamer these days. I used to be a long time ago. I just don't really have time for it, if I'm honest. So when I was sent this, which is the GameSir Bluetooth X2 game controller, I was a bit dubious. Would I use it? Would I even understand how to use it? Yeah, is it for someone like me? In all truth, all honesty, it's not really. But if you are a gamer, if you like using your iPhone for games, or if you're just curious, maybe you've wanted to get into Apple Arcade and start playing with it a bit more, but you like the idea of having a proper traditional clicky button controller, then this is a great option. Now it's about $60. There's different versions of this. This is the Bluetooth version. The iPhone simply sits in here, you pull it apart, you take off your MagSafe wallet first, but yeah, then you put your phone in there. It kind of clamps the phone nice and safely, and you've got a controller. Now, it took me a little while to work out how to connect the controller via Bluetooth because I'm stupid, but basically you can connect it as a Xbox controller. The iPhone sees this as an Xbox controller, and that's good news because it means that when you start playing games with it, most of the games that are compatible with the Xbox controller just see this as a normal controller. So there's not really any configuration you have to do. And for my testing, I had to play with NBA, which I love basketball and I love NBA games. I used to play them a lot as a kid. And it's just brilliant, actually. Maybe if I'm sat there bored, whatever, or in an airport or something one day, if that ever happens again, I will perhaps take this with me. I think for $60, it's not very expensive. It's very well made. The D-pads feel nice. They're not D-pads, are they? The joysticks feel nice. The D-pad feels nice. Nice clicky buttons. It's got a 500 milliamp hour battery in it, which gives you about 20 hours of gaming apparently. It charges via USB-C, which always gets my vote. So yeah, and you also get this nice carry case, which makes it very easy to pack away and take with you. I like it. It's a nice little package. For $60, it's not much, and it might just get you into iPhone gaming. Who knows? Give it a go. Now, I've gone through quite a few iPhone charging docks in my time, and I never really stick with them, partly because you seem to have to really accurately put the phone on them to make them charge properly. And I don't know, since MagSafe arrived and we've got that MagSafe puck thing to charge the iPhone, I just use that. However, I was then sent this, and this is one of those kind of iPhone / Apple Watch / AirPods charging trees, as they're known. Trees because it's a bit like not like a tree. It's from MagBoost, they're called, and normally £100, and at the moment you can get it for £40 at the time of recording, which is the 3rd of August. So hopefully, if you're quick enough, you can get it. However, if you use code MarkEllis15 at checkout, you will get 15% off this. I have stuck with this now for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I think. That's partly because the connection for the iPhone is nice and solid. It goes on there very easily, and I don't have to readjust it. It just starts charging straight away. Same thing for the Apple Watch. You just wrap your Apple Watch around that, it starts charging, and it's got obviously the charging pad there for AirPods, which again works really well. What I didn't realise actually is that this is a light. I turned it on by mistake the other night, and it's one of those touch sensitive things where you tap the surface and the light comes on. It's got about 3 brightness settings, I think. It also has a USB connection out the back in case you want to charge anything else off it. The main connection is USB-C. The only annoying thing with this is that it's got a charging light on the front, which is either green or red depending on the charging state. And if you've got that on your bedside table, it's quite bright. Apart from that, I really recommend this, it's great. Use MarkEllis15 at checkout as the code, you'll get 15% off. But I think in terms of these charging trees goes, you can spend an awful lot on some notable makes on the Apple Store. I'd avoid them for the time being and grab yourself one of these. Now, another charging station type thing is this, which is the STM ChargeTree. Less tree-like, this one, I think, but this is quite a good alternative to the one that I've just shown you, the MagBoost, because it's a little bit smaller, connects via USB-C again, and once again, it charges your phone, so you place your phone on top there. You can't really get that wrong in terms of laying it on there for the charge. And on the top, you can put your Apple Watch, and then right around the back, you've got a little charging pad for your AirPods. So it's a bit more compact. It's a bit cheaper as well. This one's $66. I know you can get the MagBoost one cheaper at the moment, but in normal pricing times, this is a bit cheaper. And it's really well made, this. Very, very solidly built. I think this is the kind of charging station that sits quite nicely on a desk. But again, you might find it works well on your bedside table. But whenever I've used this, I've found myself putting it on one of my desks. So yeah, that's the STM ChargeTree 3-in-1 charging station. Definitely worth checking out. Now, Cyber Acoustics have been in education for 25 years, apparently. I've never heard of them, but that's because I've not been in education for the last 30 years. But yeah, it's a company that produces some really interesting tech, and they sent me 3 things to look at. This first one is the Essential Micro Docking Station. It's very, very small, as you can see, which makes it quite useful for things like, for instance, the MacBook Air. And it has this nice way of hiding away the cable that you attach it with, which is USB-C, obviously. You just flip that out, plug it into your laptop, and that gives you a HDMI connection, which is nice, USB-A and USB-C. However, on the top, and like so many of these accessories that I'm showing you today, it has wireless charging as well. So you can just pop your phone on top of that or your AirPods case, and it's great. I love the size of this. It's really, really useful. In terms of price, $70. Not cheap, but well made, and I just love the compact nature of it. I think it's great. The fact it has the HDMI out will be very useful for lots of people who want to use that, use their laptops for projectors and that sort of stuff. I like it. I love the fact it's got the charging on the top of it as well. Now, the other thing they sent me was this speakerphone, which is their SP2000, and it's a USB/Bluetooth speakerphone, which I'll be totally honest, I haven't even tried, but it's worth mentioning just because they sent me it really, but also it might be something that you find useful yourself. It's $70. As I say, it connects either via USB or via Bluetooth, and it gives you the ability to hear your conference calls through it. So it's a bit like a mobile conference calling machine. I'll put a link to this in the description, but because I haven't used it, it's not fair for me to review it properly. But if you need something like this, which can also be a Bluetooth speaker actually, but if you need some form of device for conference calls in your office or something, check it out. It's a nice little thing, I think. I just haven't used it. Now, the last thing Cyber Acoustics sent me was this, which is a essential dock for your desk. Now, this is interesting, I think. It's not really for me, personally. What it is, it's a really useful way of placing your laptop on something and gaining more ports at the same time. So as always, connects via USB-C, very useful for things like MacBooks. And on the back of it, we've got HDMI, there's a display port, there's even Ethernet on there. Can you see that? You remember Ethernet? It's there, but also 3 USB-A, and there's also a fan here as well, a little fan. And the reason the fan is there, which has a button to turn it on and off, by the way, the reason for that is that the idea is that you place your laptop on this. So the back of the laptop sits here, and it raises it slightly, which for some people is better for typing and stuff like that, but it also cools your laptop at the same time. So if you're working in a humid environment, or if you're using a laptop like the 16-inch MacBook Pro that gets hotter than the surface of the sun, then yeah, you might find this useful to kill a few birds with one stone. You get all these nice ports at the back of it, you also get Ethernet, but you also get a nice way of raising your laptop and keeping it cool. It's nice. It's not cheap, it's $140, but it's very well made, like everything these guys do, and it feels very work-like. It feels like one of the devices that you probably put into your office, particularly because of the HDMI out and also the Ethernet. That's very useful in office environments, and also because if you're using a laptop for extended periods, it's nice to have that ergonomic slight lift, but also the fan to keep it cool. Definitely worth checking out. Now, I'm a really big fan of Benks. I reviewed their AirPods Max stand a little while ago, and it's been by far one of the most popular accessories I've ever reviewed. Loads of people have ordered them since, and I don't blame them. It looks fantastic. Now, I asked them what else they could send me, and they sent me this, which is their portable kind of laptop stand, which also cools your laptop at the same time. And the way it does that, obviously it looks like any normal laptop stand. You place your laptop on there, but it has this little unit on it, which you plug in via USB, and it's just like a heatsink really. It just kind of keeps your laptop cool. Great, lovely idea. The problem with this is that it's very flimsy. And when I say flimsy, it's not going to fall apart, but it's very easy for you to kind of faff around with this, and this bit falls off because you can change where this heatsink thing sits. It's got these little grooves you put it into, but as you can see, it's a bit of a pain to fit, and then you have to do it just feels a bit rickety is the best way of putting it. Now, it's only $30, so it's not going to cost you much. And if you do have issues with your laptop overheating, it's quite a good way, I think, of solving that issue and having a stand at the same time for your laptop. But it's not the best thing Benks have made. I think when you compare it to their headphone stand, which is fantastic and really well made, this feels a bit cheap, I'm afraid. It might be worth a punt if you like these sort of stands and you want to keep your laptop cool. So yeah, have a look, but there are better versions on the market. Now, sticking with the laptop stand theme, I thought it would be good to kind of contrast the Benks version with something else. And this is from a company called Boyata. Boyata. Don't know, something like that. They're a pretty cool name that I can't pronounce. As always, very different to the Benks stand, mainly because there's nothing in there in terms of active cooling. It does have these slats to keep your iPad cool, but as you can probably hear, It's made out of aluminium and it's not too heavy, but it feels very, very sturdy. In fact, it's so sturdy that the hinge is incredibly stiff. Almost too stiff, I'd say. I mean, it's nice to have a stiff hinge. That aside, I mean, that's quite a nice safety feature, I suppose, really. It does look nice. It has a lot of movement in terms of how high you can have your laptop or how low you want it. You know, it's entirely up to you what you go with. It's quite big. It's probably for bigger laptops. I mean, obviously you get 13-inch on there, but if you've got a 15-inch laptop, I think this would work quite well for that. But I think in terms of just the quality of those hinges and how rugged this thing feels and how well made it is, this is $30, you know, and I think you're getting a lot for that. I really recommend this. I think if you want a laptop stand, you're not bothered about active cooling, and you just want something that looks nice and crucially will look after your MacBook or your Windows laptop, then I would take a look at the Boyata. Really hope I've got that name right. Now, the last thing in my list is a bunch of carbon fiber accessories that were sent to me by a company called Monocarbon. Now, the first thing I'd like to mention is their rather wonderful packaging, which is just, it's just lovely. It almost feels like jewelry. You know, you kind of open it, it's got these nice kind of soft internals, and it's just very nice. So unboxing experience, top marks Monocarbon. Now when Monocarbon got in touch, I immediately was drawn to their AirPods Max cases, but also their iPhone case as well. And also the fact that they did a MagSafe wallet. That's the Apple one there. And this is the carbon fiber version for Monocarbon. So those things interested me. Now, what often happens with these people who send you review units is that very nicely, they send you loads of stuff, and Monocarbon sent me a shed load of things made out of carbon fiber. I got the bits I wanted, but I got lots of other stuff as well. I got things like, I'll never use this, but a carbon fiber card holder, which feels very 80s. You know, I'm not sure who uses business cards anymore, but there you go. A kind of keyring type thing here as well. And also a notes holder, which if you want to stack all your notes into one of these, then you can do so in style in carbon fiber. Amazing. They sent me all sorts of stuff, but like I say, the things that I was interested in was the MagSafe wallet. This is really nice, actually. Carbon fiber is a bit of a, I guess it's a bit like Marmite. You'll love it or you'll hate it. If you're the sort of person who likes carbon fiber in their cars and stuff like that, this makes it quite a nice little accessory to go with your car, if you like. It's got a good magnet. It's not quite as good as the Apple version, but it looks all right, to be fair. Phone case is good. I used this for quite a while. You may have spotted this in some of my older videos, and I quite like the look of the iPhone 12 Pro in this case. So I've got the blue iPhone 12 Pro, and there it is. You can see it there, and it looks quite nice, I think. Again, it's an acquired taste. Not everyone is into carbon fiber, but I quite liked it. I kept it in this case for a while, and actually I might keep it in there again. The other thing they sent me was AirPods Pro case. Now, out of all the things that Monocarbon have sent me, these have been carbon fiber clad for the longest. I really like the carbon fiber look for AirPods Pro. I think it's wonderful. I think it looks really, really smart. And it does protect the case very well as well. I mean, if you don't know much about carbon fiber, it's very, very light, but it's very tough as well. So you don't gain much bulk. These don't feel any heavier, actually, with this case on. They look nice. And also, it's very, very tough. It's why car manufacturers use it. Lastly, the other thing they sent me was the cups, the carbon fiber cups for the AirPods Max, which I've only just put them on. I've only been using them for the last few days. It feels quite nice. I'm not sure how it looks. I think, you know, it doesn't cover the entire can, if you like, of the AirPods Max. So there's a few gaps and things, but that's supposed to be the case. Again, it protects, just like this, it protects your AirPods Max. And for some people, the people who like the carbon fiber look, it will go down pretty well, I think, really. None of these are particularly expensive for carbon fiber. You know, for example, the AirPods Pro case is $50, which I don't think is bad really for what you're getting. The iPhone case is $50. Again, I don't think that's bad for real carbon fiber, you know, comparing it against what Apple charge for theirs. And the AirPods Max covers are $60. So they're not too expensive, and I'd recommend checking them out. If you like carbon fiber stuff, then Monocarbon will have so many things actually that you like. So I'll put a link to their website in the description. But yeah, I think for me, that is going to remain. I'm probably still going to use this case a little bit. I might keep the AirPods Max enclosed in carbon fiber as well. I probably won't be using the money clip though. Right, that was it. If you watched all of that video, you're just brilliant. Thank you very, very much. I would guess that you either stopped watching quite early on, or you might have just skipped through and found the things that you wanted. So I really hope there were some accessories in there that you found useful and things that you're going to go and buy and use for yourself, for your own enjoyment. There's some real gems in here, really. I think I love getting sent review units that surprise me, and some of these things I've shown you today have genuinely surprised me. So I just hope that does the same thing for you, really. So if you have got right through to the end of this video, thank you so much for sticking with it. I really appreciate it. And if you've got a little bit more time and you want to see a bit more behind the scenes type stuff, then keep watching for a link to a video I did recently where I reveal the main apps that I rely on a daily basis on my Macs. But in the meantime, thank you for watching as always, and I will catch you in the next video.